Okay, here we go with the strawberry scones. This is a really simple recipe that a lot of you have asked for. It has a couple of secrets to it, and I'm going to show you what those are. The first thing is you put 2 cups of flour in your bowl, then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. All you need to do is just stir those around with your spoon. Today we're using strawberries, but you could use blueberries or raspberries. Before you add in the liquid, you want to take your fruit, which is 1 cup, these are diced strawberries, and coat it with your flour. That just keeps your fruit from sinking to the bottom of the bowl. Once you get the fruit coated with the flour mixture, then your other secret to this recipe is heavy cream. That way you don't have to cut any fat into the flour, it's all contained in the liquid. So this is 1½ cups of heavy cream. Just throw that in. Keep a little bit of it back so that you make sure you don't get your flour too wet. You just want enough liquid to get this dough to come together. And you're going to need a little bit of that heavy cream left at the end to brush the tops with. Okay, that's not quite enough, but it's nearly there. Sometimes your flour has a different consistency. Sometimes it's a little more wet, sometimes it's a little more dry. So always when you have a biscuit recipe like this, keep a little bit of that liquid back at the end. Now what you're going to need to do is dust your board with some flour. And if you need any more liquid at this point, you'll be able to tell. This is a little bit wet. So I'm going to add it's a little bit dry, sorry. I'm going to add about another tablespoon of the cream and just mix it together with my hands. When I used to make this recipe in Africa, I always had to add all the liquid, but I think that's because we were living in a very dry climate. Here in Houston, I find that I rarely need to add all the liquid. So I think it's just there's more moisture in the air, the flour has more moisture content, so you really need to just be careful and judge it on your flour and where you are and what the conditions are. Okay? Now you just bring all that out onto your floured surface and basically just pat it into a square or round shape, whatever kind of shape you like to do. Let's do a circle today since that's where it seems to be going. You really don't even need to knead it a little bit more. You can see that it's kind of a rough dough and coming apart a little bit, but just flat it out to about an 8-inch circle or an 8-inch square, either one. Okay? Now all you need to do is cut that apart and then put it on your baking tray. I like to use my bench scraper for this. We're just going to cut it like that, 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 that. I'm going to get 8 little nice triangles out of this. This makes a great shortcake recipe. Just bring those over and put them on your baking tray that you've lined with parchment. You don't have to completely separate them, but you do want to separate them a little bit so that they get done all the way. The last thing you need to do is brush the tops with a little bit of this heavy cream and sprinkle it with some coarse sugar. If you saw my Instagram photo a few weeks ago, and some of you did because that's the recipe you were asking about, you noticed that I also sprinkled it with some red pepper. It was kind of a mild red pepper. I just was trying something different that day. These get baked in a 400-degree oven for about 15 minutes, and that's all there is to it. If you really want to add something, you can cover them with a lemon glaze at the end. Let me put these in the oven, and I'll show you what they look like when they come out. Okay, these are just coming out of the oven. I think I told you the wrong temperature. They should go at 425 for between 12 and 15 minutes. These have been going for 14 minutes, and you can see they're nice and golden brown, and the sugar gives them a really nice sparkle. This recipe might be a lot simpler than you thought it was. I do hope you'll make it. Enjoy it with some lemon curd or whipped cream or just a cup of chai and a friend.